Hello everyone, I hope this finds you in good health. This learning is done in the merit of a refuah shlema, a complete healing for the whole world. Welcome to Emunah Until the Sunset. In these emails, I try to focus on ideas of Emunah and the Parshiot, the portions we read from the Torah. Emunah, generally translated as faith, can also be described as accustoming oneself to see all the phenomena of life as manifestations of God's presence. This week's Parsha is Devarim. With this Parsha, we begin the fifth and final Sefer, or book, of the Chumash, the 5 books of Moses. Why did I just get emotional saying that? Okay. Whether you believe in the divinity of the Torah or look at it as a moral teaching text, the Chumash has immense power, so thank you for joining me on this journey. The book of Devarim is essentially a recap of Moshe's story in the Torah. Moshe is referred to as Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses our teacher, and that he has been in his faithful transmitting of mitzvot from God to the people. He knows that he won't be going with Am Yisrael, the people of Israel, into Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, so he is giving them one final lesson. The book of Devarim takes place over about 5 weeks. To give some context, the book of Bereshit, Genesis, takes place over about 2,300 years. The book of Shemot, Exodus, takes place over about 120 years. The book of Vayikra, Leviticus, takes place over about 1 year. And Bamidbar, Numbers, takes place over about 38 years. So Devarim, it's not that long. The Greek name for this Sefer is Deuteronomy, means second law, which can sort of mean second Torah, as Moshe recounts Bnei Yisrael's journey from Egypt until this point. But why recount anything at all? Don't people remember what's happened? Even as generations die out and first-hand sources are gone, what else is there to do in the desert besides share collective history? For example, it's pretty hard to forget the details of Chait HaMeraglim, the sin of the spies, because that's the very reason that Bnei Yisrael is still in the desert. There are a few opinions as to why Moshe recaps the past happenings, and my thoughts on this topic have been inspired by Rabbi Yonatan Yudrin's beautiful shiur this week on the Parsha. We have seen time and time again that there are no extraneous words of Torah. Every letter and every word has significance. So this repetition is not without reason. So then what's the reason? I'm about to make some comparisons to things that are 100% not on the same level of reverence as Torah. So imagine that I am saying lahavdil, separating those topics every time I switch lanes. Thank you. Have you ever watched SportsCenter? SportsCenter is a show on ESPN that is literally dedicated to sharing highlights / clips from professional sports games, featuring experts commenting on them. These kinds of people are referred to as sports commentators. But now I can never think about the word commentator or commentary without thinking about Torah. So what makes the content on SportsCenter original is the commentary itself, which makes me think about this recap in Devarim. Moshe isn't copying and pasting the previous text, and he's not retelling everything exactly the same. He's adding his own thoughts and interpretations. What makes people watch SportsCenter is the input of people besides themselves. This is why people want to watch others' live tweet television shows, and why we listen to current events podcasts, and why talk shows exist, and why we can listen to thousands of shiurim classes on the same single line in a Jewish text. In the same way that plants, humans, animals, and oceans take the same water and use it for their individual needs, every piece of information can be interpreted individually by each brain that it enters. To revert back to my original comparison, SportsCenter is probably the last show I would personally choose to watch. But if there was a show that recapped the Broadway season, the Tony Award nominations, or showed highlights and compilations of every Elphaba's final riff in Defying Gravity, I would seriously watch every second. So each of their own. Significance of words. Devarim, the Hebrew name of this Sefer, means words. This word, Devarim, is significant for Moshe, commented on by the Sfat Emet, Rabbi Yehuda Aryeh Leib Alter, who bookends Moshe's relationship with words with his commentary. When God first approaches Moshe to be the leader of the Jewish people in Shemot in Exodus, Moshe demurs, saying, "I'm not a man of words, lo ish devarim." Later, Moshe clarifies this is to mean that he is heavy of mouth and heavy of tongue, chvad peh uchvad lashon, which Rashi comments refers to a speech impediment, a stutter that Moshe has. There are differing opinions, though, if Moshe had a literal impediment or an intangible impediment, but that's a whole other email / recording. Here we are at the start of the final book, and the first sentence is, "These are the words that Moshe spoke to all of Israel. Ele ha-Devarim asher diber Moshe al kol Yisrael. And then this self-professed not man of words proceeds to talk for about 5 weeks. Clearly he is a man of words, or at least he is now. What I feel like we're seeing here is character development or personal growth, which, as it is even present in Torah figures, confirms that as people we are never fully formed. If we were, our time on earth would be over. An egg is considered complete when it's laid, but if you wait long enough and keep it warm for a bit, it can hatch into a chick. Even objectively finished products can always evolve and grow. Thank you so much for listening. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.